Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today on Let's Review, we're going to be talking about Series 1 of Doctor Who. Now, the Let's Review Doctor Who series, I've already covered all 26 seasons of classic Doctor Who and the Wilderness years, so it's time we move into modern Doctor Who. And Series 1 is such an important series. This is the make or break moment for modern Who. If Series 1 doesn't land, if its first episode, Rose, does not land, then it could go the way of the TV movie, which, of course, the TV movie was originally intended as a backdoor pilot, and it did not go through, unfortunately. So, I think, especially while they were working on Series 1, they didn't know what the show was going to do. It could be a hit, it could be a huge miss. Nobody quite knew what this new Doctor Who was going to do. And there was so much they had to get right. Russell T Davies is on fire here. He is at the top of his game. He is peak Russell T Davies. He knew what he needed to do to get this show off to the races, so to speak, off the ground. First off, brilliant casting with Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. This is a very different Doctor. And I love the fact it doesn't just give us a big exposition dump on why this Doctor's different. We do get a little bit of background on him in Rose, especially with the one guy, I forget his name, who runs the website, kind of explaining it to Rose, which while explaining it to Rose is also kind of telling a new audience about the Doctor. But we don't get the complete information on why he's so different from the classic Doctors. That comes out more over the course of that season, which was the right choice. And I think it was a clever idea, the Time War, making him the last of the Time Lords. I'm kind of over it at this point, but it was a great idea for the time, giving him kind of this post-traumatic stress, this darker edge to them, this pent-up anger and rage, which you really see come to the forefront, and of course in Dalek, but you get hints of even before that, like when he lets Cassandra die, something most of the classic Doctors probably wouldn't have done. McCoy maybe, but most of the classic Doctors wouldn't have done. And Eccleston is very good at mixing the comedic bits with the serious bits. One of the things I love about the Ninth Doctor is he can go between them on the fly. He can be very amusing one moment and very serious, like dead serious, the next. He's very good at flipping between those things quickly, and he's very good at pulling both of them off. I like Billie Piper as Rose. I much prefer Series 1 Rose to Series 2 Rose. I feel like Series 2 Rose takes a bit of a dip in character. Nothing on Billie's acting. But I like Series 1 Rose better. She just feels like a more fleshed out character. I kind of like that we see more of her home life. Again, I'm kind of over that now. But I like at the time fleshing the companion out. Kind of expanding on what we got with Ace at the end of Classic Who. Meeting her mom, and I love Jackie Tyler. I live for Jackie Tyler. She's amazing. Meeting Mickey, and as a character, I like Mickey. He's a bit insufferable at times, but he has a nice little growth over his 2 seasons. He's really in the show, too. The introduction of Captain Jack this season. I've always loved Jack as a character. I don't think he can hold a spinoff. I'm not a Torchwood fan, but I love Jack as a character. John plays him very well. And the new format, I think, while I wish Doctor Who at this point would go back to the classic format, that way the stories would have more room to breathe and you don't have all the Deus Ex Machina endings, I think for 2005, you needed the shorter 45-minute format. I think that worked really well for television at the time, and they were very good back then at telling fulfilling stories in that 45-minute time or writing 2-parters that were typically solid parts 1 and 2. It was only later, really, we got where part 1 was better than part 2. Those first few seasons, typically part 1 and part 2 were really strong. And then Series 1 also is one of the best seasons. I'm just going to call it that because it's easier on me. We call those things seasons here in the States. One of the best seasons of modern Doctor Who. It is one of the strongest. I still say it's probably my second favorite and probably the second strongest. I don't think there's any bad stories. There's a couple of them that I'm not as fond of as I used to be. And all of them I've seen so many times. Like, I've watched all of series 1. Well, except for one episode I've only seen 2 or 3 times. But I've seen most of them several times. I used to just rewatch this era so much when I was in my 20s, early to mid 30s. Well, I'd say mid 20s to early 30s, especially. I'd go back and watch this era so much. So it's like I know these episodes forwards, backwards, and sideways for the most part. And you just have this perfect storm of good actors, good writing, good production team, good effects for the time. The effects have not aged the best for these first couple seasons. I'd say Series 1 and Series 2 have aged roughly, to where I honestly think Classic Who holds up better than some of the first 2 seasons of Modern Who, looking back on it. Because I feel like I can handle outdated practical effects far better than I can handle outdated CGI for some reason. Like, looking outdated. You know, Jurassic Park still looks phenomenal. But the Series 1 and Series 2 especially, and some of Series 3, you know, Hello, Lazarus Monster, look a bit... I can buy Ark and Space Bubble Wrap easier than I can some of the stuff going on in the modern series. Those early seasons there. But, and also, what is it with the weird camera they used? Especially Series 1 and 2, where everything has this blurry look to it. Like this Vaseline look. Not quite Web Planet bad, but it has this kind of bright, blurry, slight Vaseline sheen to it. I don't like that. Looking back at it, I didn't like it at the time. I like it even less now. Doctor Who, whatever you think of the quality of the writing, Doctor Who looks better now. And I think, honestly, from Series 5 onward, it really started looking better. Even before that. Series 1 and 2 really suffer from this, where everything looks overlit at times. And the cameras are just weird. But that's a personal annoyance. But the quality of the stories is there. You have a solid run. And this, of course, is back when we had, 13 episode seasons. So you had time to do a seasonal arc, which was more in the background. The seasonal arc was very loose in those early seasons, which I prefer, because the episodes pretty much work as standalone episodes. And the writing for each episode was solid, with a couple 2-parters thrown in there. Rose is a great opener. Very much taking a lot of cues, I think, from Spearhead in Space. It feels like Russell realized Spearhead in Space was such a good story and such a good, what we now call a soft reboot for the show, that I think he took inspiration for that from Rose. And I think that was a great idea. Spearhead from Space is a fantastic way to soft reboot the show and get new people into the show. So many first happened in Spearhead from Space. So I think kind of looking at that and borrowing aspects of that for Rose was a clever idea. It introduces you to the Doctor and who he is. It introduces you to Rose. You get background on the Doctor. You're introduced to the Tardis. And I do love that scene when Rose walks into the Tardis for the first time. That's a great scene. Mind-blowing for her and the audience. And I also love them bringing back a classic villain, but not like one of the big 3 classic villains. We don't have the Daleks right off the bat, or the Cybermen, or the Master. They use the Autons, and I like the Autons. And we only had the Autons twice in classic Doctor Who. Both great stories, I might add, in Spearhead and in Terror of the Autons. Both phenomenally good stories, both written by the legendary Bob Holmes. And the Autons are used well here. I like that we actually get to see the Autons breaking the glass in the stores, which we didn't get to see in Spearhead. Although, to be fair, it's edited so well in Spearhead, you don't notice. You really don't notice. And then the fact that Clive, was that the guy's name? Clive? Actually gets killed. The one who runs the website actually gets killed. That's kind of dark there. And I liked Rose helping out. It works. Everything about the episode works. It has humor. It has action. It has mystery to it. It has some great speeches. The speech when he tells her about being able to feel the spinning of the earth, that's a great speech. But I also love the scene like when he's trying to find the big round thing and the Ferris wheel's right behind him. Or when he's choking on the hand and Eccleston is selling it. It balances all those things well. Oh, it's nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life. I love that. And then the music's really good in it. I love the mysterious Doctor theme that plays throughout it. And so you get this spread of great episodes going to the future, going to the past. Series 1 does a very good job of introducing you to the concept of Doctor Who, of what this show can do. You're going to end up in modern day London. Don't really get a heavy unit. You don't get a lot of unit in this. But you get the past, you get the future. You get one of the big bads in the Daleks brought in, not once but twice. And then you get new iconic monsters. And this, of course, is Stephen Moffat already starting to prove just how great he's going to be as a writer for modern Doctor Who. But all of it comes together, and it's still one of the strongest seasons the show has ever done. So if you're having to hard, soft reboot the show, because again, you're introducing this show to a brand new audience. There's so many people who, if they know what Doctor Who is, it's simply the fact they know it was once a thing. And then they probably think it was cheap and camp. Because that's just probably what people who don't know Doctor Who think of Doctor Who. Classic Doctor Who, or old Doctor Who, or original Doctor Who, or whatever they were calling it back then. So you are really having to, for all intents and purposes, introduce this for a whole new generation of fans. And it's, I think, 20 years on, 15 seasons on at this point, the fact they came out swinging with one of the best seasons the show has ever done in the modern series. And it even stacks up really well with the classic series. So we're going to go ahead, and I haven't discussed the episodes. I'm going to rank the episodes. I'll discuss them as I'm ranking them. We really have 13 episodes, but some of those are two-parters, so we have about 10 stories. At the bottom of the list is World War III and Aliens of London. I used to like this one more. I just don't get into it as much now, but it does have a very classic Doctor Who feel to it. The monsters being a little silly. Their appearance has kind of a classic Doctor Who look to it. The farting thing. They wouldn't have done that in classic Doctor Who. God knows Robert Holmes wouldn't have done that in classic Doctor Who. But it's something that someone who is thinking of classic Doctor Who by the stereotypes people think of classic Doctor Who would think it's like an homage to classic Doctor Who. Oh, it's being silly and campy. That's not really true, but I can see where they would think that. But the actual design of the creature, it looks like a design that classic Doctor Who would have done if it had had a bigger budget. It's like a classic Doctor Who design if they'd had a little more money. And I like that. And the episode kind of flows like that sometimes even. It's good as a two-parter. I feel like part 2 lives up to part 1. It's got some truly suspenseful moments, like when the General gets killed and Harriet Jones is in there. Ooh. It's got its silly camp moments. Harriet Jones, I loved Harriet Jones. She's just, Harriet Jones. We know who you are. I like the running joke of that, to where even the Daleks are, in Series 4 are like, yes, we know who you are. I love that. I like the guy who's playing the Slitheen disguised as the Prime Minister. Or the Vice Prime Minister, is that what he's called? I don't really know British politics. But the actor playing him, the kind of heavyset guy, I liked him. He's really, really good in that role. Then, of course, the woman playing the Slitheen that shows back up in Boomtown, she's great. She is phenomenally great. Here and in Boomtown. She just sells it. And then we have some really great moments with Crisis there. I also love the Doctor figuring out what planet they're from. Narrows it down. Rexacoricofallapatorius. And I love the fact it's such a tricky word. Rexacoricofallapatorius. I love the whole little bit with it. I love, again, it's got that humor thrown into it. The cliffhanger for part 1 is good too. I enjoy this one. Just for some reason, I never want to go back and rewatch it anymore. I liked it when it came out, but just for some reason, maybe because I've seen it so many times, it just doesn't hold as much interest for me now. It's like I grew out of it. Next on the list is The Long Game. Now, The Long Game, I'm not a big fan of the actual story. It's just, it does a couple things I liked. I've talked about this before. One, it shows that not everyone is cut out to be a companion, and it kind of shows us what happens when someone gets a chance to travel with a Doctor who's not cut out to be a companion. Keeping in mind that The doctor didn't pick him. Rose picked him, and the doctor said, well, it's on your head. He let it slide. But Rose picked him, not the doctor, to show that the doctor is actually very smart about who he picks to travel with him. He's good at reading people. And so I like having a companion that wasn't good enough to actually be a companion. I like that. And then 2, this also shows that the doctor is not infallible. This episode is a perfect example of the doctor not staying to see things through, not staying to clean up his mess, causing problems down the road. Of course, with the events that happen here affecting the events that happen in the finale, which ultimately leads to his regeneration. So the way the events play out in the long game bite him in the ass later because he does not stay to make sure things run smooth. He just thinks they'll run smooth and he leaves. And to be fair, this happens also more in modern Doctor Who, and even happens in classic Doctor Who, with Face of Evil being an example, where the Doctor is dealing with something because of something he did in the past that didn't go the way he thought it would. So I like that it shows the Doctor makes mistakes and that he isn't infallible. So I enjoy that. The actual story is not that great. I like the cast. It's nice having Simon Pegg in the show. And then the one girl who can also do the brain thing, the kind of girl that's helping them, I don't know her name, but she's great. I actually like the actress playing her a lot in this too. The whole Jarafats thing is just not an impressive looking special effect, I'll be honest. And like I said, the story doesn't do much for me. But those other aspects about it I do enjoy. Next on the list is Father's Day. This is another one that just on rewatch doesn't do as much for me. First off, the CGI bat things look terrible today. Again, the Naimon and the horns of Naimon look, I was going to say better, but that is reaching a little bit, isn't it? Maybe about the same? The bubble wrap in the Ark in Space looks better, though. The Tetraps and Time and the Ronnie look better. The thingamajiggies and Frontios look better. The CGI just has aged very badly on the bat things. I like this episode. One, the actor playing Rose's dad is great. And I love how different he plays her dad. I can't remember his name. Her dad, then when he plays the alternate version of her dad in Series 2, the fact he plays them differently, I like that. But he plays that so well. He's a very good actor in this scene. Him and Billie Piper have some very good chemistry together. I like the fact that Eccleston gets angry here. The fact he gets angry that she doesn't listen and that he gets mad. I also like the fact that he gets kind of sidelined in this. And the fact he gets sidelined because he does it saving everyone else, knowing what will happen to him. He's like, I'm the oldest thing in here. Because he does it to kind of reset the balance and save everyone else, to buy them time. I like that. But the fact that he's sidelined is kind of neat because it means everyone has to figure it out without him. So it gives Rose a little time to shine, and it also gives her dad time to make that sacrifice that he makes, knowing how things have to be. It's really good. For some reason, I've seen it so many times. It's not on my list to go back and rewatch anytime soon. And again, Series 1 just looks a bit rough sometimes with those cameras they use. I don't really have that urge to go back to it, despite being a good story. Next on the list is the Unquiet Dead. Now, the effects here I like. The glowing blue effect looks really good. The way the actors who are basically playing the zombies, let's just call them that for the sake of convenience, are really good. This is, to me, probably the scariest episode of Doctor Who I've ever seen, because something about it just unnerves me. Unlike any episode of Doctor Who ever. I have trouble rewatching this one because I find it creepy. Part of that is down to the way the zombies move. First off, the makeup on them, very well done. Very good makeup, especially something with the eyes. But their body language and the way they move, because they move in this unnatural way. They don't move the way a normal human body would move. It's kind of like, just for some reason as humans, when we see something that's human but not quite human, something is off, it really bugs us. It's like the Uncanny Valley with CGI, or, Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. When we see bad CGI or something like that, or when we see zombies in really well executed zombie movies, there's always something about it that just instinctively bothers us. There's something that we know that it's unnatural. And the actors playing the zombies in conjunction with the makeup on them pull that off to where it unnerves me almost to where it makes the hairs on my arm want to stand up. I also like Charles Dickens in this a lot. The actor playing Charles Dickens is great. And at this point, we really weren't used to the Doctor interacting with famous historical figures, because that's not something that happened a lot in classic Doctor Who, so it was not kind of nice to see that. This is really our first journey to the past, so it's nice to see that. And I like that we get the actress who would later come back for Torchwood. She's really good in this. A well-made episode. Just, again, not one I go back to because it just unnerves the hell out of me. Next on the list is Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. This would be higher, but the first episode I don't get into as much. The dated TV show references, again, really dated. Especially since they're shows I don't get into anyway. I never cared for The Weakest Link. I never cared for Big Brother. I don't really get into that kind of reality TV. So that kind of rubbed me wrong. I do like Linda. Was it Linda with an I or Linda with a Y? I actually get confused. But I liked her. The actress playing her is nice. I like the chemistry between her and the Doctor. I like the little bit of jealousy with Rose. That's fun. The cliffhanger to it is really good. The other kind of extras we get are good. And it's a great cliffhanger bringing back the Daleks. And I love the Doctor's speech when he's telling them no. And that bit at the end with Rose, I'm coming to get you. I love the scene in part 2. I really love part 2. When he sends her home and he appears as the hologram, that he's going through all that to protect her, including sending the TARDIS away. And I like how right at the end he turns and looks at her, the hologram does, like he knew she'd be standing there. That's a beautiful moment for me. I love that moment. And then the scenes between her and her mom in that episode are very powerful scenes, very well performed by Billy and the actress who plays Jackie, who I think also played in Nuns on the Run. I'm pretty sure the actress that plays Jackie played in Nuns on the Run. Really good movie with Eric Idle and Robbie Coltrane. Funny movie. And then the ending is really nice. I like the Eccleston's goodbye speech. And then we get a nice regeneration into David Tennant. And, I think it's interesting getting a regeneration this early. The advantage of that is you introduce people who are new to the fandom to the concept of regeneration early. Like if Eccleston had done 3 seasons and people had time to really get attached to him and then he'd regenerated into David Tennant, I think there would have been a problem with people having trouble maintaining their identity to the show, their connection to the show. But since you introduced the concept of regeneration so early in modern Doctor Who, that people are just kind of starting to connect with Eccleston, and then boom, you have David Tennant in. This gets people used to the idea of the main character changes. Different actors play him very early. So by the time people have had time to really grow with their first Doctor with David Tennant, by the time he's leaving, they're still upset he's leaving, but they at least know that the show can continue. They're familiar with regeneration because they've probably seen series 1. So in a way, while of course it wasn't something they planned, there is an advantage to having Eccleston only doing 1 season, in that you get this new younger audience used to the fact that this character can change form and that different actors can play them, and that don't get too attached to one, because next thing you know, you'll be wondering, who's the new jerk, before you fall in love with them. Or not. So yeah, Series 1 did everything right, I think. Oh, we still haven't finished ranking the episodes. Hold on here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Next on the list for me is Boomtown. I like Boomtown. It's an underrated story for me. Again, it mixes serious stuff with humorous stuff, and I love episodes that do that. First off, again, the actress playing the female Slitheen, who is back from the World War III two-parter, she's great. My hat's off to her. Her and Eccleston have some good chemistry together in some of their scenes. I love the scene when they're having dinner, Because this scene, just this scene itself, goes back and forth between serious moments and comedic moments, with her constantly trying to kill him. And him stopping it, the catching the claw, spraying like the breath mint in her mouth. The ring, her pouring the poison in the ring and him switching the glasses. Thank you, pleasure. But then them having the real serious talk about, you know, you let one go every now and then. Only a killer would know that. You know, I like how well that's written. And then, the bit when she's trying to escape through the window and he keeps bringing her back with the teleportation and just grinning while he's doing it. That's hilarious. But I like the scene, too, when she's thinking about killing the reporter in the bathroom, but she doesn't. I actually like that scene. It's very touching. You actually feel a little sorry for the Sylvine for a minute while worrying about the woman in the bathroom. It's nice that she let her go. While still having the humorous bit when they first talked about, well, so-and-so got killed. Oh, I couldn't see him. He slipped on he slipped on an ice patch. His head was cut off. It was a very slippery ice patch or something like that. Or the one where I tried to stop, but I couldn't stop in time. It's done in such a humorous way they deliver it. It reminds me of Blackadder when the voting, when they're voting, while somebody accidentally cut his head off while combing his hair. One of my favorite bits in all of Blackadder. But yeah, I like Boomtown. It's a good combination of those things. Of seriousness and comedy. Next on the list is End of the World. I like End of the World. It's our first trip into the future. I wouldn't always place it this high. Sometimes I'd place it below some of the others. This is one where the list can really move around. The effects on it look pretty good for the time. They haven't dated the best. I like Cassandra as a character. She's fun. I like that we get to see the dark edge of the Doctor when he lets her die, realizing that this is definitely a different Doctor than we're used to. I like the girl who's made out of wood and her chemistry with the Doctor and their banter together. And, of course, us getting our first real hints about the Time War from her. And, of course, the Doctor explaining that he's the last of the Time Lords at the end of the episode. Which, of course, even for classic fans, we're going, oh, this is a change. Something happened. Especially since we don't know who the war was with at the time. He doesn't name the Daleks at the time. So we just know that there was a war, the Time Lords lost, and he's the only one left, and that his world is gone. That's pretty neat. I also think the set design looks pretty good for this episode. It's an enjoyable romp to the future. And hey, I mean, you're 2 episodes in and you're already showing the destruction of the Earth. There's some balls there, I think. Number 3 on the list is Rose, because it has so much to do as a first episode. What? Yes, I see you. Yes, all right. Oh, you're bumping the camera. What are you doing? Yes. My landlady's cat. It's thundering and he does not care for thunder. Yes, I see you. But Rose has so much to do as a first episode. And again, the show, in a way, it lives and dies on this first series. But partly on that first episode, you really got to capture the audience with it. And it does a good job of doing that. It does a really good job of, all right, yes, I see you. Yes, all right. It does a really good job of doing all the things it needs to do. As I said when I was kind of talking about it earlier, I like how it basically takes... Are you laying on my notepad? You little bugger. He's laying right on my notebook. Which luckily I know the top order of the top 3, but he's like parked right on it. Little bugger. Luckily it does everything it really needs to do. As I said when I was talking about it before, I like the I don't know the word I'm looking for. I like how it pulls from Spearhead from space, though. I think that was a really clever idea, and bringing back a classic villain, but not like a super well-known classic villain. Just a spare, been used a couple times classic villain. That way it has something to where the classic fans are going, oh, the Autons, but modern Who fans aren't going to be, you know, sitting there going, well, they'll probably be going, who is this? But it's a nice little nod for classic fans while at the same time introducing a neat villain that is a neat concept to the modern audience. The story does everything it needs to do. It introduces you to the Doctor, gives you enough backstory on him, introduces you to the companion, introduces you to the TARDIS, the concepts of the show, and it's well cast. So I like that. And it fills out its runtime really well. It does all of that in its 45-minute run period really, really well. And so I like that. Also, number 2 on the list is The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. Stephen Moffat starting his run as being pretty much flawless here in the Russell T. Davies 1 era. Stephen Moffat, when he doesn't have the weight of Doctor Who, Sherlock, and the 1010 movie all on his shoulders at one time, when he can really take the time to let a story breathe and really focus on it, he's one of the best writers the show has ever had. And arguably the best writer the modern show has ever had. I love The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. I love when Doctor Who takes something ordinary and makes it spooky, scary, gives it its Doctor Who twist. In this case, we have 1, a child, and 2, a gas mask. There's something inherently creepy about a monster in a gas mask. We saw that again in Praxeus with the gas mask, actually. There's something inherently creepy when you can't see its face and you not even be able to see its eyes. That just makes it spookier. It's once again a 2-parter that fills out its runtime well, and it's a 2-parter where part 2 lives up to part 1, where the Doctor Dances lives up to everything the Empty Child sets up. It's well cast. I like the girl playing Nancy. I like the boy playing the boy. Is creepy. And Dr. Constantine, is that his name? I like the actor playing him a lot. He's not in the episode a lot. But he sells, really, the 2 scenes he has, he sells it. The scene when he's explaining everything to the Doctor is great. I love that scene. The scene at the end when he's like, well, are you sure you had 2 legs when all this started? There is a war on you. No, that's funny. I like that. It has a great cliffhanger when they're all closing in on the Doctor. It's also a great introduction to Jack. It's a great introduction to Jack. It does a very good job of explaining Jack's character to you and making him feel like a full, fleshed out character. That's down to the writing and the performance. Both of those are well done. And it's nice to see Jack join our TARDIS team. I like at the beginning when he's making the jokes about, is anything falling from the sky? Something weird, something... And everyone's laughing at him until he realizes where he is. That's pretty funny. And then these times you do see people transforming into the things are nice and chilling and creepy. Very well done. And then the resolution at the end. Oh, first off, before I get to that, the scene when they're in his room. Yeah, I see you. The scene when they're in his room and the tape runs out. He's like, the tape ran out 30 seconds ago. I sent him to his room. This is his room. That's a great scene. And then the ending. When everybody lives. Yeah, I know you didn't like that. I love the scene when he is able to save everyone. And Eccleston sells that speech when he does his everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. Everybody lives. And Eccleston just has this huge smile on his face. That very Tom Baker smile that he has. That huge grin. And he's so happy that this Doctor, who has been through so much, who has lost so much, who has experienced so much loss, has so much post-traumatic stress, that he's able to save everyone. And that pure joy on his face is such a moment. And Eccleston just delivers on it. It's great writing and great acting. And the fact that for those of us who watch Classic Who, very rare is it for him to save everyone. I mean, in Classic Who, people died. It's not like in Modern Who, especially lately in Modern Who, where everybody lives. In Classic Who, people died. I mean, look at Horror Fang Rock. Just a thing. The Doctor can't save everyone. Doctor Who's always been kind of realistic about that, at least, where people die. So to have a story where he is able to save everyone, I love that ending. Love that ending. It's just a great two-parter, and Stephen Moffat really started his run strong. And number one, just edging it out, they're very close, is Dalek. I love Dalek. It is just one of the best Dalek stories of all time. I really enjoy that. It's never felt quite so personal between the Doctor and a Dalek, or the Daleks. You can feel that, since this is kind of their first encounter post-Time War. And he has naturally such a hatred for the Daleks, because his own people were destroyed because of it, and the fact the Daleks are what drove him to have to do it. That scene when he first realizes he's facing a Dalek is extraordinary. One of the best scenes in all of Doctor Who, when he realizes what it is, and when he realizes that gun doesn't work, and you just see him start laughing. You really see this other side to the Doctor that you're not used to seeing, especially if you're a classic fan, you're not used to it. And as a modern fan, you realize, oh, there's this side of this character we haven't really seen before. When he's laughing, and Eccleston sells that laugh, when he gets right up in the Dalek's, face. It's like, what for? And just that whole exchange between them is so good, And the coward survived. Oh, and I got your little signal. Help me, poor little thing. But I love all of that. That scene is just magic. Also, the guy playing Van Statten, very good. I liked him a lot. And then the other girl, the girl that's kind of his assistant, the one that has him locked up at the end, or his mind erased, the actress playing her, also Goddard. Is that her name? Goddard? She's really good, too. Really, really good. And then the British one, little Fauntleroy, the one that travels with them later, the actor's doing a good job with that as well. And it's an interesting spin on humanizing the Dalek to a degree and making the Doctor go almost into a Dalek. And the fact that it even touches on that, you would make a good Dalek. And then the Doctor giving his speech where, why don't you just die? It's so undoctor-like. And Eccleston sells it. You can see the spit flying from his mouth, the anger, the rage, the resentment, the bitterness, all of that he's pent up. Especially, thinking, well, at least after everything, he got rid of the Daleks. There's no more Daleks. He managed to take the Daleks with them. So it was worth it. And then he finds another Dalek left. This whole thing that is the epitome of hatred you hold inside of yourself. And it's like a dam bursting free. So it's interesting to see that. Also, I love the fact that this episode showcases just how deadly one Dalek can be. It's like, how many people on the coast here? This many thousand, all dead. Why? Because it honestly believes they should die. That's a great scene as well. A lot of good scenes in this story. I love when there's usually just a single Dalek, because when you have an army of Daleks, you kind of have to Deus Machina the ending, because they're so powerful, especially in the modern series. You kind of have to come up with a rabbit out of a hat to stop them with some technobabble. When there's one, you can really do something different and interesting with it. And this episode shows just how deadly one Time War Dalek can be, and how powerful they are when they're stopping the bullets, how smart it is. I love the fact this episode remembers the Dalek is a genius. And I love the fact that the episode references Davros too. A man who's king of his own little world. You would have liked him. I like the little nod to Davros there, foreshadowing his return later. I like the resolution of it when, even Rose is like, no, I'm not going to let you kill him. What are you turning into? The kind of inverse of the Dalek versus the Doctor there. And the fact when the Doctor realizes the Dalek has been contaminated and it's growing emotions, and that it's not even a Dalek anymore, something new. The fact he actually says, I'm sorry. She's like, isn't that good? And he's like, not for a Dalek. That's like the worst thing for a Dalek, because a Dalek likes to be pure. They don't like to be contaminated. That's like terrible for them. And the fact the Doctor even kind of feels sorry for it when he goes, "I'm sorry." I like that little touch. And the fact that the Dalek destroys itself because it can't live with what's happening to it. It's a really powerful episode and a great way to reintroduce the Daleks. A great way to bring the Daleks into the 21st century, and a great way to introduce the Daleks to a new audience. For them to realize, you know, what is arguably Doctor Who's greatest foe. Just what they are and how deadly they are. Plus, I love Nicholas Briggs as the voice of the Daleks. He's really, really good at it. Yeah. It's a strong season overall. No bad episodes. One of only 2 seasons, I think, the show has done where there are no bad episodes, which to me are the top 2 seasons. Some of them I don't care for as much now, but I think they're still objectively pretty good. So, Series 1, what do you think of it? How well do you think it holds up? Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There is a link to that down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Finn Perkins, and Unknown289. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It means a lot, and it's very much appreciated. My YouTube members as well. I also have a P.O. box. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, I love getting fan mail. And I have a birthday coming up in July, if anybody wants to. Early July, I might add. If anyone wants to send me anything for my birthday, that would certainly be appreciated. I have a link to my Amazon wish list down there. I've updated that recently. And a link to my Amazon UK wish list as well. I've updated that recently as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.